Wade and Wade reacts.
We got a subscriber request to check out the systems that turn you into a new type. The subscriber has been waiting for a long time, so without further ado, let's get into it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another question of the week. In one of my previous videos, I talked about whether or not an old type pilot could pilot a new type mobile suit. And I got quite a few comments amongst the lines of, but what about the exam system or one of these similar systems? And the simple answer to those questions is because that just wasn't the question I was answering in that video. A new type machine is a mobile suit that is built for new types to take advantage of their new type powers. Systems like the exam system, on the other hand, are built for all types to give them like pretend new type powers. So there's no question about whether or not they can use them. It is designed for them. But since so many people did ask about them, today let's go over all of those pretend new type systems and also several reasons as to why you don't want to use them. Well, why you won't want to use most of them. First up, we have the exam system. Obviously, the most famous one of the bunch.
I heard a lot about that one.
Now, I did already cover this in a previous video, so I will be briefer in this video. The system was first developed by Xeon by Dr. Clust Moses, who was an old type who was deadly afraid of new types. So he decided to dedicate his research to a way for old types to compete with them. And the answer was the exam system. Moses managed to somehow trap the soul of a new type girl called Marion Welch inside of the system, and this system would then forcibly give her new type powers to the pilot of the mobile suit. This not only sounds crazy, but it actually was crazy. Because in addition to giving her new type powers to the pilot, she would also try to reach out to them and beg them to release her tortured soul, something that has driven many test pilots mad. And another side effect of this very unorthodox technology was that souls and machines aren't exactly made to be compatible with each other, so the system was both unstable and hard to control. As a result, the exam system could only be activated for a short amount of time, and was known to go berserk, attacking anyone in the vicinity who it deemed to be a valid target, be they friend or foe. Oh, and as a side note, because it uses the soul of an actual new type, I do believe that if you were to install the exam system into something like the Xeon or the Elmeth, it would give a non-new type pilot the ability to use new type weaponry once the exam system activates. But yeah, as cool as fin funnels and red visors are, there are multiple big issues that might want to make you reconsider using this system. Not that you could even if you wanted to, but to find out why that is, again, you can watch my older video on the subject. But the combat results were undeniable, so many researchers in the Federation didn't just want to give up on this system. At some point during the 1-year war, the Augusta lab put in a request for all of the data concerning the exam system, because they wanted to find a way to recreate the system, but without the need for the new type soul trapped inside of it. And the result of their work was the Hyper-Animosity Detect Estimate System, or HADES for short. This system would be installed into the powerful Pale Rider mobile suit, and it was a complete success. Just like the exam system, HADES gave the pilot a temporary new type-esque power boost without the need for a new type soul to be in the mobile suit. However, the way in which it achieves this is where the problems begin. The system increases the reflexes of the pilot by messing with the neurotransmitters in their brain. and this has fun side effects like memory loss, a shortened lifespan, not being able to digest food, and going berserk in combat. And
not even worth
unfortunately,
it.
Hades wasn't optional. Just like the exam system and the later NTD system, if Hades decided that a certain enemy was enough of a threat, it would activate automatically, and it could even take straight up control of the mobile suit. Which
That's
is
bad.
where the name of the machine also comes from. It is called the Pale Rider because the mobile suit is the one that is in control and not the pilot. And even when it wasn't straight up taking control, it was still suggesting the best course of action to the pilot through its learning computer. So the mobile suit / Hades was well and truly in control of what was going on in the battle. And during the development of Hades, 3 other similar systems were also made with the goal of collecting more data for the finalized Hades. Themis was a simplified Hades and was installed into the Black Rider, Zeus was a fire control system installed in the White Rider, and Ares was Hades-like, with its main defining feature being that it used voice commands. It was installed into the Red Rider, and the way it worked was that when activated, it removed the limiter, boosting its performance by 150% for 5 minutes. However, this performance boost was so taxing on the pilot that it actually gave him a seriously high risk of going into cardiac arrest. As
Dang,
evidenced
why
by
come the
the fact that
drawbacks
it
are
had
so
a
severe?
dedicated resuscitation system installed into the cockpit, the RIM VOS system.
Not getting into that.
So that's fun. And another fun fact was that the people working on these systems apparently had a really hard time finding test pilots. Gee, I wonder why. So they decided to use war orphans, who were then enhanced through various means. A procedure that would become the prototype for the later cyber Newtypes. So again, Hades wasn't something that you'd want to be using. Another development of the exam system then was the Neo exam system, developed by True Federal. They tried to get their hands on the data of the exam system, but there was very little left, so they tried to recreate the system by filling in the gaps. And for so little information being left, the end result still was something that resembled the original exam system, both its pros and its cons. The machine got a Newtype-esque power boost, but was still extremely tricky to use, and the machine could go berserk. But the real purpose of this Neo exam system was to serve as a stepping stone for the Demon Blade AI system. A system that sends out special waves to activate the latent Newtype powers of the pilot.
Does it have a spirit in it?
Unlike the other systems in this video, it seems like you do at least need some kind of Newtype aptitude to use this system. Next up then, we have the Newtype Injection Trace Reformed Old-Type system, or the Nitro system for short. Originally, this system was meant for normal pilots to use the Psycho Gundam, but it was a complete failure. Pilots would expire after only a single test, and therefore the Titans decided to shelve the system. It was too much even for them. But then Anaheim came along, looked at the test results, and were like, we gotta get in this. We're gonna do it better. And so they improved the system, installed it into the Gundam Delta Kai, and it actually was quite successful. It gave cyber Newtype powers to an old-type pilot by forcibly rewriting their brain on the fly. And those powers do seem to be fully fledged cyber Newtype powers, because in addition to like an overall performance boost and better reflexes, it also gave an old-type pilot the ability to use remote weaponry. And the only side effect is that the pilot becomes more aggressive and can potentially lose control. Which, I mean, it's not good, but when you compare it to things like the exam system or the Hades that we just went over, it sounds like only a minor inconvenience, especially for a system that supposedly rewrites your brain. And before we go over our final pretend Newtype systems, I want to answer another question that I've seen pop up, both in my own comment section and just on the internet in general. What if a Newtype were to use one of these systems? Like, would it just do nothing, or would it make
That's
it
a good
even
question.
stronger? And well, the official answer is that we just don't really know.
They
So
really won't have to
what
use
I'm
it,
going to be
though.
telling you now is my own interpretation. For the exam system, it relies on the powers of Marion Welch, so I feel like you're going to get diminishing returns as the pilot is a stronger Newtype. And depending on how the system works, I think you might just outgrow it completely once your Newtype powers are stronger than the Newtype powers of Marion. Think of it like Newtype training wheels. They help you out in the beginning, but once you're good enough, they're actually going to get in the way.
That makes
The
sense.
Hades system and everything surrounding it then is a bit of a tricky question because everything about it sounds like prototype Cyber Newtype stuff. And we even get specifically mentioned that the process to enhance the pilot is a prototype for Cyber Newtypes. But all of this was done at a time where the Federation only had a surface level understanding of what made a new type, and also what they were capable of. What they saw was that new types had incredibly fast response times. So that's what they were going for. Look at the Alex, for example. So I think that it would boost the power of a new type, but only their reaction speed and not their actual new type powers. So like if they weren't good with new type weaponry before because they were too weak of a new type, I don't think this is going to help them with that. Which was the case with the Nitro system, because this system is basically like Insta Cyber Newtype. Cyber Newtype in a can. So since the regular Cyber Newtype treatment can give a Newtype more Newtype powers, I believe that the Nitro system would do just the same. And finally then, we have two systems that don't actually have any negative impacts on the pilot. The half control system and the quasi Psychomus system. Both are systems that allow an all-type pilot to pull off an all-range attack with wire-guided weapons. The half control system was only installed into the Neue Ziel and was still
my
quite
favorite
difficult
mobile
to use,
armors.
whereas the quasi Psychomus system basically reads the mind of the pilot and then translates this into movement data
that's pretty cool.
for simplified
Yeah, it is.
funnel-like weapons, like the incomes. The only downsides with these weapons were that they had to be wire-guided and that their movements were rather basic compared to, like, true new-type weapons. But still, I think that is a very worthy trade-off,
It's better than nothing.
considering what could happen
It
to
is.
you if you use a system that turns you into an actual new type. Also, there were some remote weapons that could be used wirelessly with the quasi-Psychomus system, but these were extremely rare. Like, the only one that immediately comes to my mind is the Commander version of the Doven Wolf. Oh, and while the Hades system might not have had an effect on actual new type weaponry, it did help with those quasi-Psychomu weapons, like for example, the incomes that were installed on the Todesritter. And as an added bonus, it also helped with controlling the sub-arms. Although I
makes
still
sense.
wouldn't recommend actually using the system.
Not at
So
all.
yeah, if you want to feel like a new type, I'd suggest sticking to incomes, or, you know, try harder and become an actual new type. But let me know what you think about all of this down below.
All of these systems are terrible, especially the first two. You got the exam and the Hades system. If you want to go crazy and engage in a game of friendly fire, those are the two systems you use. Now, the last couple of systems that don't have any drawbacks, I think if you do want an enhancement in battle or you want some type of advantage when it comes to fighting pilots who are old types and you want to be able to compete with new types, the last two would be your best bet because they don't have drawbacks, but at the same time, they don't have the advantages of the Hades and the exam system. But I would much rather be at a slight disadvantage than have the powers of a new type, but risk either hurting my companions plus foes and losing my mind at the same time.
Yeah, like you said, the first, all the ones you named before, the last two are useless for an average person unless you want to be destroyed mentally, physically, and maybe, you know, even spiritually, because they got magic and stuff on this one. But the thing I don't understand is this. Couldn't you just control, because they got the little fake funnels, they got the wires on there, it helps the pilot give you that funnel technology, but with just wires attached, strings attached, you should say. But wouldn't it be easier to, you know, you control the mobile suit and then give an AI the wireless control over like wireless funnels instead of you having to do it? And then, because I'm pretty sure in this timeline, because where we're at, we already working with AI technology. They're more advanced in it because they got giant robots that can fly in space. Couldn't the AI control, a battle AI or something control that?
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense because you're going up against new types and you can't really defeat a new type in battle. So I think that would be the perfect way to match new type abilities, to give the pilot an AI system to control funnels and other weapons to match the new type.
Yeah, because that, to me, that makes sense. Because I know a lot of people in the comments say, and he just mentioned it just for the video, because I can't remember what they're called, the wire funnels. It would just make more, because people say there's limitations to that and there's drawback. It's better just give, okay, if I got this, like, you know, Iron Man, he got Jarvis. He's controlling the combat, but then on the other hand, Jarvis is doing stuff as well. Then, right. You know, Iron Man, he also has the other AI Friday. I mean, you could even add 2 AIs in there if the system couldn't, because I know somebody in the comments, they've been reading Gundam, the mangas, and watching every single last thing there is to watch about. They're going to have some type of excuse why you couldn't put AI and do the remote control funnels.
Which systems do you all think would be the best to operate out of the systems he mentioned in these videos? And if you could combine 2 systems to make the ultimate system with the least drawbacks, which ones would you combine?
Yeah, somebody explain a Newtype spirit too. This is going into magic territories. How are they putting a spirit or somebody's essence into machinery? Please break that down to us.
Make sure you leave all the answers to those questions in the comment section. Also, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss a video from Wade and Wade Reacts.
And we're out of here.
Peace.